Welcome back to Discipleship, and today I am interviewing Justin Warren.
I'm good at going fast, running from the ghosts of my past. You can come back home, come back home. That was then, but this is now. What was lost has now been found. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. You can come back home, come back home, come back home, come back home to me.
How are you, Justin?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. So Justin plays on our worship team at Salem Baptist Church and also comes and does stuff in the youth group a lot of times. So Justin, if you could you give a little bit of background on who you are and your testimony?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm from Florida originally. My dad was a pastor for most of my life as a kid growing up. I gave my life to the Lord when I was like 7 years old and just tried to follow him the best I could. I didn't always do a great job, but yeah, thankfully I felt a calling towards ministry when I was in 6th grade at summer camp with my church. And at that time I wanted to be a drummer in a praise band. And so my dad, he made a deal with me. He's like, I'll buy you a drum set if you do school band. And so I joined the school band. I did orchestra, marching band all the way from 6th grade till I graduated high school. And it was somewhere around my junior year of high school that my younger sister started taking guitar lessons. And she'd come home and I was like, hey, let me see that. And then I started going to guitar lessons with her. And that led into me playing acoustic guitar in the praise band at our church. And then our lead singer, our worship leader, moved away. And then the church asked me to start leading worship. I was like 17, 18 years old. I was a senior in high school. And then from there, a guy saw me leading worship and he asked me to come be a lead singer of a local Christian band. And man, my parents blessed me and told me I could go do it. And so that's what I did when I graduated high school. And from there, I kind of stepped out on my own solo career. And God's been gracious. And I've been doing it full time, traveling and touring for the last like 7 or 8 years now. Yeah, just very thankful.
So Justin, how long have you been playing music?
Man, I'm playing music since I was in middle school, but like leading worship and traveling since I graduated high school, and I'm now 36 years old, so a while.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's always good to start when you're young. You said you've been playing for about 7, 8 years now.
Well, that's just full. I've been playing longer than that. That's just like, it took me a little while to build up to be able to do it full time. So I worked like part-time jobs in the process. So yeah, like where touring was my main source of income like the last 7 or 8 years. Yeah.
One of the questions I had for you is I have a lot of different questions on what's been happening with you lately and all that. And then I've also got some just questions about what you do in your spare time and to spend time with the Lord. So why don't we start with this? Are you writing any new songs, or are you going to be redoing any songs? Maybe some Phil Wickham songs, something like that.
That'd be cool. Yeah, so I have some songs that are finished, and I just released a brand new song a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago actually now, called Come Back Home. And it's actually it's being promoted to radio right now, which is really cool. We have a radio promoter who's basically he's calling all these stations and saying, hey, check this song out. And then on March 15th is the date that they can start playing it if they choose to. So we're hoping they choose to play it, which would be really cool. And then I have another song that is finished and ready to release that we'll probably release in a couple months. It's a song that's real special to me. I wrote about my best friend. He was in the Army and he was killed in a helicopter accident. But he knew Jesus, so I have this hope that I'm going to see him again one day in heaven. And so the song is called See You Again, and so I'm really looking forward to releasing that. So that's kind of next on the docket, and I'll have to ask, I don't know, I'll have to ask my label when exactly the release date's going to be, but I think it'll be in a couple months.
Wow, well, that's great. I'll leave a link in the description to your Spotify. If you have any other platforms that you're on, I'll also leave the description.
Yeah, it's on everything, man. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, wherever people listen or stream, they can find it.
That's great. Yeah, and it's great that you're writing these songs, because now it's like I've seen a lot of Christian artists who are writing more songs that don't have any meaning anymore. They're just writing them more for the views and for the people to watch and for the money. It's great that you're writing these.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, so here's a question we have is, what is one of your favorite books? And I know as a Christian, hopefully your favorite book would be the Bible, but
Right.
other than the Bible, are there any books that you just really, really enjoy?
Yeah, a few books that have stood out to me. There's a book called Chase the Lion by Mark Batterson that I really enjoyed reading. I've also have read both of Dr. Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life books that I really enjoyed. Those have been really cool. There's another book, I think it's called When God Whispers, that I really enjoyed. I've tried to make it a little bit more of a habit to read. I kind of picked that up later in life. I haven't been doing the best job here lately because life's been really busy. We have three boys, and one of them's only 8 months old, and so it keeps us real busy around here. So I haven't read as quite as much as I'd like to, but yeah, those are some few books that I have enjoyed.
That's great. And what is your favorite book of the Bible?
That's a good question. Being a songwriter, I probably would, lean towards the Book of Psalms. Just because it's filled with some incredible songs, and I think mostly because of how vulnerable and open and just how David just wrote like whatever he was feeling, whatever he was going through. But in the end of it, he always put his faith and trust in God, like no matter his circumstances. So even if he was angry or upset or questioning, he still knew where his hope was, and that was in Jesus. So I always enjoy that book. I always enjoy reading through it. But I mean, the Bible's filled with all sorts of great stuff. So, but being a songwriter, of course, I probably would. I like to open up the Book of Psalms and read through it for sure.
That's great. Yeah, David, I remember reading through Psalms. I'm like, I see David, and he'll be at times complaining to the Lord. He'll be like, "Why'd you let this happen?" And then for like a whole chapter, then all of a sudden it's like, "But I trust you."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love that. I need that reminder because I'm wired like that, especially being a musician and artist. Like I can be a bit emotional, and so I need that reminder to always trust the Lord at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's a really good question. So after all you've done all this stuff, and you said in the 6th grade about you decided that you felt called to ministry. And what is some advice that you would give to youth today in words of following the Lord and how to see like what his plans are for you?
Yeah, I would just say probably my favorite verse in the Bible, Psalm 37:4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And not because that means like, oh, I just desire a big car and a big job and be famous or whatever, and God's going to give you that. But it's because as you delight yourself in the Lord, what he wants for you will become what you want. And so just do that. Just chase after God's heart with all you have, and he'll unfold all that stuff. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have every step figured out. You don't have to have 10 years figured out. Just keep every step, trusting the Lord, following him. And one day you look back like, man, look at his hand, look how good he was, look how faithful he was, and he'll lead you where he wants you.
So that's like one of the most misinterpreted verses of scripture. It's
Absolutely.
like, I want this with all my heart. Give it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then they leave out the ones about turn away from your sin. They're like, it's non-Christians. They're like, okay, I'm just gonna push that to the side, and I'll take these ones. This sounds good.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So, what do you do to unwind and spend time with the Lord?
Yeah, this is gonna sound like hilarious and probably goofy and silly, but one of my favorite things to do to unwind and just like relax and enjoy is to play golf. I know that sounds really dumb, but I strap my bag on my back and I walk down the fairways, and I've had some of my best conversations with the Lord just walking down fairways and poking a ball around. But it just kind of gets me away from the noise. It gets me like away from my phone and like trying to keep up what's going on in the industry or this and that. It just I love it. Just kind of like being out in God's creation and just talking with him and enjoying some downtime.
Yeah, that's some of the best ways to spend time with the Lord. Just be out in his creation.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so this one's a big one, and I mean, I've seen this a lot in youth today. It's me and another Justin. We have a podcast on Spotify called the Discipleship Podcast.
Very cool.
And we discuss a bunch of different problems that Christian teens are having now, and even adults, just all Christians all around. But one of the biggest problems I've been seeing is with these different secular music that they're listening to, because Satan was the angel of music, and so he's going to try and use what he's good at to get the youth. So do you think that different secular music and these artists like Beyonce, Taylor Swift, do you think they can have like a mental and spiritual influence on people?
Well, I think music has a big impact on anybody. I mean, God created it to have a massive impact on us. It's not some, we connect with it on multiple levels with our senses. Not only do we hear it, but we feel it. It moves us. So it impacts us emotionally. And so yeah, I think it absolutely can. And I also feel like I'm not in any type of place to have like a spiritual or moral authority to tell people what they can and can't do. I think that comes between the individual and God and the Holy Spirit and their convictions. I wouldn't want to be the guy who says you can and can't do this or that. I would trust the Lord to work that out in someone's life. But no doubt the music has a huge impact, and it can be for the good or, sadly, sometimes for the worst. So.
Yeah, that's it. And usually people are all at different walks, at different times in their walk with the Lord, and sometimes they have to figure it out. And you can't be the one just battering them, being like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You could be like, hey, I don't think this is okay, but it's between you and God.
Right. Yeah. Everyone has their own convictions, and you trust if they're walking with the Lord that they'll sort it out.
Yep. All right, so we only have one question left, and I want to thank you again for doing this interview. It's been great so far. You've been fantastic at doing this, and I know my internet's been spotty and all this stuff, but
All good, man.
We're trying to get back into it, getting my equipment back.
It's been an honor to be on here. I think it's super cool that you do this, man. It's really awesome. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. All right, so the final question I wanted to ask you is, if you could have done one other thing, was there ever a time when in your career where you were like, oh my gosh, I think I want to do that for the Lord, like something else that called to you, that you were just like, that you were torn between music and this for the Lord?
Honestly, since I felt this calling, no, I could say no. Like before I felt this calling, like growing up, I wanted to be like a marine biologist. Like I thought that'd be really cool. But once I felt this calling, I've never had, no, nothing's ever been like, nothing else has ever kind of enticed me, I guess you would say. I've been like singularly focused on this, for a while now. Well, probably a really boring answer, so sorry.
No. These are great. I mean, I've done some interviews that we haven't even posted because like something, I've been like, oh, I messed up bad there or something like that, and we just haven't been able to post. But this has been great. Well, Justin, thank you for coming on today, and we'll be sure to point everybody toward your new songs that are coming out, and all your channels and stuff so they can check that out, because we're always looking for good Christian music to listen to.
Man, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. It was an honor. It's great talking to you.
Thanks for coming on. Hope I'll probably see you soon.
All right. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.